Jim's here, Tom's here, Meg's here, Barb's here, Charles is here, Ricky's here, Jim's here. Before we start the work session tonight, I'm just going to ask for a moment of silence for a former colleague in local government, Becky Casper. Thank you. Is there anything for public comment this evening? Couple of quick things. Just apologize if I'm running around all day with meetings. Had a good conversation with Ronnie Travers, our HR specialist. Hopefully sometime mid next week we will have an email going out to the Zoning Board of Appeals, the Planning Board, the various volunteer groups to begin to work on the sexual harassment training. There's a self-guided way that will be used for now where individuals will get an email. They can click on a link, watch some videos from the Department of Labor, and then there will be an authorization form that people will sign and will keep on file for the year. Mel will integrate some of these practices into some of the coaching staff, for the various recreational programs, and then the lifeguards will receive a program that's a little bit more in depth. But the email, there's an interactive portion for the requirements, and if people that are receiving the emails have questions, they can contact Ronnie Travers directly. So that will meet that standard.
Is that the one where you have questions with it?
It's a little bit different, but Department of Labor created these videos that we can use, so we're going to use that for now.
Okay.
We anticipate over the course of the next several months or years that we will continue to get more directives from the Department of Labor. So we're going to use the material that they've produced to start off to kind of meet the standard. Okay, so we also had a shared services meeting. It was already kind of in the works, but one of the things that became more of an outcome is Clinton County Supervisors Association is going to be hosting its monthly meeting next week, but we're going to invite the highway superintendents to that with a focused conversation on shared services. Interestingly enough, the design of doing the tri-town partnership between Beekmantown, Schuyler Falls, and us is now being considered by Ausable and 2 other municipalities. They felt that really worked, and they're going to try to do a new to them paver if they can find something within a range that is acceptable to their boards. So in the next shared services meeting, we'll also focus on EMS services. Obviously that is a rather large conversation, and it will not be the only one over the course of what I have to only imagine months of other conversations, but
at least months.
Yeah, so, but everybody was pleased at least that we could begin to have a conversation with Eric Day and some others. So
Are these under the auspices of the county where you get reimbursed? That program?
Yeah, it's under a similar program as they've done in the past. Right now, what we're really just trying to focus on is to engage in some healthy conversations about various topics, because the timetable has changed. We have more time to work on it.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus in on kind of learning some more things, building some partnerships, and those were some of the big things that I just wanted to pass along for now.
When is that next shared services meeting?
I don't know what the next date is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I missed it.
So for draft resolutions for consideration, nothing to be voted on this evening. Minutes and monthly report. We've spoken about this in general terms before, that when we lost Kayla, that Rachel would need some more training with one more period to go, and grievance is coming up. Brian needs to keep a certain arm's length away from that process. So by having Sharon come back for basically 2 days, it will give her the ability to provide some of the background training for the grievance process that Brian really isn't as intimately involved with, so.
She's only gonna be there for the 2 days?
That's really, we're not looking to have her extended for a period of time beyond the process. And then working through civil service continues to be a joy and pleasure of my life, so.
Which this has to be part of the process.
Yes,
right?
yeah, so it's just, but I do appreciate Sharon's willingness to come back and kind of provide that. There's a request for an easement station to rebuild a NYSEG section over in Katyville. They're going to be doing some screening there as well, which I was very pleased about.
Where is that?
You know where you can see
That's
the
what-
disc golf course?
Yeah.
And up just a little bit further north on the
That's where
left-hand
they've
side.
been- Okay.
That's where they've been working.
Where they've been
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when you say screening, we don't know exactly, but they know that we want something to keep it.
Oh, yeah, we've had that conversation. In fact, we pushed back and forth. They basically sent the initial request for easement, and Trevor and I had a conversation. We were like, well, we're not just gonna give you the easement. We want something that makes it a little bit nicer, so it's not just this big. I mean, even with screening, it's not perfect, but it's better than just kind of their,
Pipes hanging out.
Yeah.
And because it's on a park, will the screening be all 4 sides? Or is it just gonna be on the roadside?
I honestly forget. I think it's 3 sides. I don't think it's 4 sides. I think it's like the side panels and then the front panel like that, so.
Probably have to get in there to do work and so.
Okay.
So we negotiated with them on that,
Yep, yeah, we pushed back and we got what we were looking for.
and they're gonna give us some lights.
Yeah, no, that's not part of the.
Start another place we could put a solar panel and stuff, they could have that.
Execute the assignment related to innovation, and then there's professional auditing services for ERPG. One of the things that we talked with them about is because we're doing the Tyler Technology software, we wanted to have the same group being able to kind of audit our experience with the software and then after the software experience. And they gave us a recommendation for a 2-year extension. After that point, I would imagine that we would go again out for a full RFP, okay?
Okay, that was one of my questions.
Yep.
So we have 2 years with them from now?
If we adopt the auditing services for ERPJ. So I think it is very beneficial to have somebody that's experienced us before the software, and then to make sure that once we've onboarded the software, that we're meeting same standards and stuff, so, that's my recommendation.
When does that start?
The,
Usually isn't it started by now?
Which,
oh, the audit?
Audit?
yeah, but I'm talking about Tyler software, we're actually working on doing the implementation this year. So that contract will be completed at the end of this year.
Okay.
I don't want to wait until December to then say, can we extend their contract? So by doing it now, we can get onto their calendar for next year, so.
To your question, Tom, they certainly have done very well in starting that process much earlier.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
We're,
I know that's one of our goals. is
Yes, it was,
start
yeah.
early.
The next, to the credit of Mel, she kind of canvassed a number of groups to find an opportunity to be able to use a vehicle for some programming, reached out to the Plattsburgh Housing Authority, and got basically the at rate for mileage, which I think is really, really great. And
That's a great deal.
the hope is to build an ongoing relationship with them for a number of things. Next is a request for Melena Tamer to be the MWBE representative for the town of Plattsburgh. We continue to field grants and various things, and we need to have somebody that becomes the entry point for that. So it's helpful to have a primary point of contact rather than splitting it between 3 different people, and community development, that's often where it's housed. So it's a good opportunity for Melina to own that particular item, so. And then finally.
So the MWE is the,
Women Business Minority Enterprise, yeah.
right, so she's going to handle any one that comes up for the town?
She'll be part of the review process. It will not be her sole and singular responsibility to facilitate every aspect of it, but sometimes as we're going through the grant process, there may be an application that needs to be reviewed, or it needs to be submitted, so we want to have at least one point of contact that will be, involved with that, so. A lot of times the applications, are reviewed for that, then they're reviewed sometimes for fair housing, depending on what the grant is. So having different people in these pockets make sure that people can address things, so, yeah. The last, which I personally am excited about, is AES Northeast contract for grant preparation. This relates to the ongoing work to get a fully functioning traffic signal over on Ampersand and Ruger. I remind people that, like many things, we go through this process, and I don't think we bump along. I think we continue to build off of the process, where we did a public-private partnership where we got you first to give us a modest donation or contribution that helped us get it to the threshold where we could do the traffic study. Now we're doing the engineering. The engineering will then lead for us to be able to build out the full cost structure for the grants. Trevor has done some really good work to identify grants that are most appropriate for this funding process. And now what we want to do is to go through there and to be able to get a good application, in the pipeline. So-
Trevor was very helpful, because I actually went through and reviewed the traffic study, being that's part of the planning department area, and so he helped me.
You weren't the person that was driving back like this, right?
I was.
And there, we've also had the help of private, in terms of the sidewalks.
Mhm.
So that we can get a complete project in the end.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think it will be a real benefit to the region. I can tell you that the folks at U First Credit Union, one of the reasons that they were interested in contributing that small amount of money was not because they just thought a traffic light would be good for them.
No. No.
They said, that they used to have a sticky note that they would put hash marks for the amount of accidents that they would see outside their windows.
Yeah.
I mean, not the most scientific,
Yeah.
but to them though, they were trying to.
Probably is the most scientific.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Tick marks.
yeah. So they're looking forward to
Watch
that. Trevor thinks that this could be a very competitive grant, and like everything, we'll prepare it and move forward. So, all right. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I see no need for an executive session tonight. So, that. All right. Drive safe, everybody.
Time is it?
6:13.